Hi everybody, it's Dr. Bridget Young from BabyFormulaExpert.com. Baby Vaughn just woke up from his nap, just so trying to get this done before he was awake. But now you can enjoy his beautiful face. Today we will be talking about Enfamil's brand new formula, Enfamil Enspire. That's Inspire with an E. Petey's also running around, so he may join us too. We're in the backyard today. It's so nice and warm. I got all my notes to go over with you. So you'll probably start seeing commercials if you haven't already, or just hearing a lot of buzz around this new formula. It is the very first commercial formula to include 2 brand new, what I call designer nutrients. These are nutrients that aren't required by the FDA, so they're not like traditional vitamins and minerals that you've heard about, but they're in breast milk and they've been studied in breast milk for a really long time. These 2 are Lactoferrin and Milk Fat Globule Membrane. You'll see it MFGM. So today I want to go over what those are, why you should care about them, and then the punchline, of course, is this a good formula option for your little guy or little girl? So before I get into that, I do kind of want to ramble on for a minute that milk fat globule membrane and lactoferrin are 2 things that I've been hearing about in the research world of human milk for years. So they've been studied for years and years, probably at least a decade, along with lots of other things. So breast milk is this slurry of all kinds of things. A lot of them we don't even know. People like me have built their entire research careers studying human milk and trying to figure out what in milk makes breastfed babies so healthy, so that we can emulate that for formula-fed babies. So 2 things that have been studied a lot and are getting a lot of attention are lactoferrin and milk fat globule membranes. So just so that you're aware, every time something new in breast milk is discovered or there's a new study, you'll see a headline and then it'll sort of disappear. And things like lactoferrin don't end up in commercial formula literally until they've been studied for decades. Our first concern, I'm going to eat my microphone. Our first concern with infants is safety. So anytime anything new is added, you don't really need to be concerned about is it safe. By the time it gets into a formula made by someone like Enfamil, it's been studied for safety for decades. And that is the case with both of these things. So cross that off your mind. Anytime something new ends up in formula, it's been proven to be safe, and that's the first thing that's studied. Okay, let's talk about what these things are. Lactoferrin performs several functions in breast milk. It binds iron, which sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually a great thing. It binds iron, which keeps bacteria and viruses from using this iron to grow. So in that way, and then in this other couple ways, lactoferrin is kind of like a natural antibiotic. It helps kill bad bacteria that can be present in breast milk or can be in the infant's digestive tract, and it helps kill these things before they can form an infection. Lactoferrin also binds to receptors on the infant intestine. So for my bio nerds out there, it's actually endocytosed into the cell and serves as a transcription factor. For those of you who aren't bio nerds, you're much cooler than we are. The take-home message is it helps the intestine grow its immune capacity. So it's one of those things in breast milk that helps breastfed babies grow their immune system. These are great things that we would want in formula. So when we add it to formula, we're actually adding lactoferrin from cow's milk, not from breast milk. However, that's what we've been studying, so it's still safe. And studies adding cow's lactoferrin to formula have shown that babies who get formula with lactoferrin have decreased respiratory disease by 12 months. This is things like flu, pneumonia, colds. So there's a decreased amount of infection in those babies. It was given to premature babies in a study, and babies who received lactoferrin had decreased incidence of sepsis. Translation, these babies suffered from infections in their blood less often. Again, that's probably because lactoferrin has natural antibacterial properties. And also, when lactoferrin was given to infants in a very low resource setting, they had a lower incidence of Giardia, so less Giardia. which obviously is a great thing. Giardia is not a huge problem for infants in the U.S., but the principle holds that in general, it seems like these antibacterial properties of lactoferrin are showing up. Oh, I think we lost for a second, but we're back. Hold on, it's okay. So in general, these things are great. So there has to be lots and lots of studies done like this before a commercial company. It's all right. Like Enfamil will consider. I'm gonna let him play with this, adding into formula. Okay, let's next talk about milk fat globule membrane. This itself is not like a single molecule. Like lactoferrin itself is a single thing that you can kind of extract from cow's milk and add it to to formula. Milk fat globule membrane is a whole bunch of different proteins that coat the blobs of fat in breast milk. All of you who have ever pumped or seen breast milk, you know, if you let it sit out for even like 5 minutes, all the fat starts to rise to the top and you get these kind of, you know, oily droplets. Well, around all of those droplet circles are milk fat globule membranes. And they have a bunch of different, we're having our first solid food of paper here. Oh my goodness. Just ate the corner, that's fine. A whole bunch of different proteins, there it is, in them. And these proteins, like lactoferrin, a bunch of them all together have been shown to be antibacterial. So that's why they began to be studied and why people are adding them to formula. So a bunch of studies have been done. One showed that when they gave milk fat globule membrane, again from cow's milk, to babies who were getting solid foods in a low resource setting, so kind of a third world country setting, the babies who got this had less diarrhea and especially less bloody diarrhea. That obviously, you can tell, is a fantastic outcome. When babies were given a formula with milk fat globule membrane added from 6 weeks to 6 months, they had a total decreased incidence of illness altogether. So they just got sick less often. In fact, they got sick the exact same amount as breastfed babies. Formula-fed babies generally get sick a little more than breastfed babies, so we're always trying to fix that. These babies especially had otitis media less often. That is ear infections. If you have been plagued with ear infections, you know anything that can help decrease the number of ear infections is a fantastic thing. And then the study that they quote on the Enfamil website showed that formula that had milk fat globule membrane added to it, when it was given to babies, they had a higher score on the Bayley scale. The Bayley scale is a way of measuring cognitive development for infants. So it's not IQ, but it's trying to get at the same thing. So these babies had a higher score, breastfed infants score. So yes, this study found that. However, I really don't like how it's worded on the website because it conjures up this fear of like, if I don't feed this formula to my baby is going to end up stupid or less smart than they would have been otherwise. Well, the study did find that. The difference in scores, it was 106 versus 101. So yes, those are different numbers. However, what that translates to in real life, I can't even describe to you. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Juan has a lot to say about this. Yeah, they're the same. So don't panic. And then you can read the wording on the Enfamil website. It's very carefully worded because even though all these studies have been done, the FDA hasn't approved marketing claims like lactoferrin makes your baby get sick less often. That can't be stated because that's something that has to be approved by the FDA. So I hope that helps you understand what these ingredients are in formula. My opinion is I actually think this is a fantastic development. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this in future years of these quote-unquote designer nutrients being added. Similac was the first to hop on board. Remember when they added lutein and lycopene and there was a lot of marketing around that? Well, now Enfamil is adding lactoferrin and milk fat globule membrane. So who is this formula perfect for? If you have a healthy little boy or girl and you are on a formula that's working great for you, don't change. Don't mess with a good thing. If your baby is not getting sick often, and again, they're growing well, let it be. You're doing a great job. You know, don't go looking for problems. So when might you choose this formula? Well, that doesn't just depend on the lactoferrin and the milk fat globule membrane. It depends on the rest of the ingredients. So the rest of the ingredients are, I'm just going to read the first big ones: non-fat milk, lactose, the blend of oils that are the fat, extra whey protein, and then lactoferrin, milk fat globule membrane, and the prebiotics that are in all Enfamil formulas. So when should you consider trying this formula? Well, it's a non-fat milk-based protein, so it's not a hydrolyzed protein or partially hydrolyzed. If your baby is very, very young, like newborn, or if you have a family history of type 1 diabetes or celiac disease, like in immediate family members, I think it's more important that you have a partially hydrolyzed protein than you have lactoferrin. And this is because in my head, I'm just weighing pros and cons. The risk of developing type 1 diabetes seems more serious to me than the risk of having an ear infection. So if you have family history of type 1 diabetes or celiac disease or severe food allergy, I still think you're better off choosing a partially hydrolyzed protein. Gerbers are all partially hydrolyzed. Enfamil and Similac each have a partially hydrolyzed formula. If that's not the case for your family, or if your baby is older, like after 6 months and getting solid food, sweetheart, shh. You can chew on that bracelet if you want. It's all right. Then this might be a fantastic choice. If your baby has had a lot of ear infections or just a lot of illness altogether, it might be worth trying to switch and seeing if this helps. Especially if you have been previously feeding, oh honey bunny, Enfamil Newborn or Premium, because these two formulas are basically the exact same thing as the Enfamil Enspire. They just don't have the lactoferrin and the milk fat globule membrane. So switching should be easy and very well tolerated for your baby. So let me just repeat the take-home message there. If your baby has been ill a lot and you do not have a history of type 1 diabetes, severe food allergy, or celiac disease, this might be a great option for you to try, and I think it might be worth, you know, sort of the risk of switching, especially if you have previously been feeding Enfamil Newborn or Enfamil Infant. Those formulas are basically identical, so the switch should be very well tolerated for your baby, so it would be totally worth it to give it a shot. I think we lost. There we go. And anything to decrease ear infections. We are going to sign off because clearly someone is not enjoying happy hour. Oh, thanks, baby. My husband's bringing me. Yeah. There. Okay, thank you so much for joining. I hope that was helpful. If you have any further questions about Enfamil or Inspire, go ahead and leave them on the Facebook page, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.